Hello, this is Most Epic Jesus, and I have had it up to here with this creationism bullcrap. I found this video online, and I have to refute every word because it's all lies. It's all the same old creationist shit y'all heard before. Okay, but now it's coming from me. All right, I'm gonna set the record straight. Let's break it down.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a really great day today. I wanted to make a quick video to try my best to destroy the theory of evolution very concisely and very quickly.
Oh my God. Why the would you want to destroy a theory that I created? Do you have evidence to destroy my theory, or are you just sitting at home and hoping it's true and spouting off some shit?
Now, to be clear, I'm addressing the differences between macroevolution and microevolution.
There is no difference between macroevolution and macroevolution. It's the same thing. It's just taking longer spans of time. Now, I understand you can't see things changing because you're a little piece of shit like living in a small amount of time, but I'm Jesus. I can see big stretches of time. So for me, it's obvious to see with my own eyes, but I understand for you, it could be difficult to see. So what I did was make it easy for you to see in yourself. Now, if you look back at what you was when you first started, when your parents, you started out, you used to look like this, right? Then you used to look like this. Then you used to look like this. And now you look like whatever the you look like. I'm just kidding. I know what you look like. I'm Jesus. But I don't know what the you look like. So anyway, you could see. You used to look like a ball of shit. And you don't look like a ball of shit now, right? So how can you say things ain't changing if you can see in yourself that things are changing?
The concept of microevolution is rational. It's simply another word for adaptation of a species over time to be more survivable or more successful in their environment. This is why we have variation within all species of plants and animals, but yet they still keep their clear differences from species to species.
What the is you talking about? What do you mean there's a clear line between species to species? How do you know when one species is a certain kind or another species is a different kind? How can you tell the difference? So, for example, what kind is this? Is that a dog kind or is that a bear kind? You wouldn't know. That is a Wolverine.
Now, this is where we come into the idea of macroevolution. Macroevolution is this concept that all life on Earth, be it plant or animal, has a common ancestor and it formed several hundred millions of years ago. And we all just stay in a constant state of change, and we're all an amalgamation of other things, which is clearly ludicrous and is not represented at all by the scientific evidence.
Really? Come on, man. That is all the scientific evidence shows. There is no evidence that a magic genie snapped his fingers and made life appear on this earth. All the evidence falls in line with the theory of evolution. All of it. There is nothing you can point to that does not fall in line with the theory of evolution. We got genetic evidence. We've got fossil record. I mean, we got a lot. There are hundreds of transitional fossils. And if you can't see them, you ain't looking.
Now, to start off with, I'm going to address the three laws of thermodynamics, in particular, the second law, which is entropy. Entropy. Now, a clear layman's definition of entropy is just the degree of disorder and randomness in a system increases over time. Okay, this is just the simple concept that things degrade. They break down as time increases and goes on.
No, that is not what the second law of thermodynamics states. You've got to be clear when you're talking about scientific things. Now, in the overall scheme of the universe, yes, things will degrade, as you say, down and break down apart. And at the end of the day, at the end of the life of this universe, then everything's going to be in a steady state of energy. Now, that don't mean in the meantime something else can't build up, and then later on it's going to break down. All right. Now, it's ironic that what you've got showing on your screen right now is a bunch of little boxes of animals, and they look like adult animals to me. And how'd you get adult animals? Adult animals come from baby animals, and you saw, since you're an animal yourself, that you started out looking like a piece of shit, like this. That's how these baby animals started out looking too, like a little piece of shit that grew up. It didn't break down into little molecules of shit. It got bigger and made up a baby animal, and that turned into an adult animal. Now, so you can see things don't always break down as time goes on. Time's going on, and babies are still being born, and seeds is still turning into big motherfucking redwood trees and sequoias, and snowflakes is being formed, beautiful crystalline structures. I spend time on this shit.
We readily see this in our day-to-day lives in everything. Things wear down. That's just natural. Now, this concept of entropy, this law, matter of fact, not theory, but this law, is true for chemical, biological, as well as physical systems.
Okay, now I know that you have been told before that a law and a theory in science are very different. Now, a theory, I know you've been told this. A theory is the highest level of evidence that you can get in science. It don't just mean a guess. Like, oh, I have a theory about how whatever, some shit happened, like when I was a kid and I lost my dog and the dog showed up and it was like covered in mud. So I have a theory that the dog was in a mudslide. That's not what it means in science. In science, a theory means we got all this evidence, and all this evidence appears to show that this is what's happening. Like if we put all the evidence together, you could understand how the system works. And then they call that idea a theory. So a theory is based on evidence in science. Now what you're doing is making things up. I don't know who told you this idea that you can just state whatever the you want and that's going to somehow be true. Now, if you never heard this before, then you need to stop making videos about science and go look it up or talk to a scientist or look it up is my best suggestion, really, is look it up. But now what you can't do, like I said, is just make something up and spout it out loud and say that it's the truth, because it ain't necessarily the truth. All right? So, like I said, a theory in science holds more weight than a law does. Okay? So, I don't know what you're talking about now, but it does not reflect reality.
Now, there is a clear reason why this theory of evolution is still just a theory after all of this time.
Seriously, man? What the is you talking about? Didn't we just have this conversation about how a theory in science is based on evidence? So if you have evidence, you can put that evidence together and understand how this system is working. Like, if you had a puzzle, right, and you had little pieces, putting pieces together on your table, and you finally come to realize, like, oh, this is a picture of a Bigfoot. Now, how could you know that beforehand if you don't have the box cover? You don't know what's going on. All you got is the pieces of the puzzle, but you put them together, and after time, you can realize what the picture is. Okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is, like I was saying before, if you never heard this before, I will let you go and look it up for your own education. But if you have heard this before, that a theory does not just mean some bullshit guess that somebody came up with. If you've heard that before and you're still saying shit like, oh, it's just a theory, it hasn't not yet graduated into a law or whatever the you think is the highest level of science. Now, if you heard this before and you're still saying it, that's called a lie. And guess who don't like lies, motherfucker? If you lying and you know you lying, you are breaking the 9th commandment. You're going to burn.
Every year, scientists estimate that between 200 to 2,000 species go extinct. Think about this. We have never, ever observed the birth of a new species of any sort in the plant or animal kingdom.
You are showing on the screen right now new species that we found in the fossil record. My mistake. I mean, y'all humans have found in the fossil record showing the transition from a land-dwelling animal who walks around on all fours to a whale. And you can see, you are showing it on your own video, how we got new species forming. And you're saying we ain't never seen no new species form. It's right there, dumb.
But yet every year, we see thousands of them go extinct. This is a problem for the theory of evolution.
Oh my God. You got more of them on your screen now. As you're saying, we ain't never seen no new species form. Now, let me ask you this. Have you looked at the evidence that exists for new events in speciation on planet Earth? Because I'm going to just guess that you haven't. You're sitting there guessing and hoping at what is true. But if you go and look at the evidence, now I'm not talking about a blog that your friend writes down at the churchyard or whatever, your high school girlfriend, whatever the she writes, all right? I'm talking about scientific papers, people who do research and spend their lives on this and their careers, all right? People have found new species all the time. Have you ever heard of ring species? Look them up. I don't got time now. And look, the bacteria make new species all the time too. They just discovered a new species of bacteria that has evolved to eat nylon. Nylon is a synthetic product made by man, and now there's a bacteria that can survive on it. That is a new species of bacteria. I know you want like a kangaroo to jump out of an algae or something like that, but that ain't how it works. It takes time for big changes to take place. In a small amount of time, you can have a small amount of change happen. But if you want to see big ass changes, you have to wait a big ass amount of time.
Because if we are in a constant state of flux and of change, for one, individuals would all be different.
Now look, man, just because there's some change happening, don't mean every single species has to be changing every one of its characteristics all the time. Okay? Now, just go with me here. I know it sounds nutty, but let's say humans evolved from apes, all right? Now, that don't mean that from one day to the next you're going to see changes happening in individual human beings, all right? Don't mean yesterday we had apes and today we got humans and tomorrow we got some of them great skinny ass aliens that got the big eyes. That ain't how it works, okay? And another thing, I know this is going to sound crazy coming from me, but if you think the alternative to natural progression of life and evolution on Earth is that a magic genie said, hoo-ha, and life just appeared the way it is now, how is that an explanation for anything? If your kid came up to you and said, Daddy, how does XYZ happen? Why is the sun the color that it is? Why is the sky the color that it is? Why is lightning happening, Daddy? You can say, a genie did it, son. That's why. Oh, thanks, Dad. That's a big help.
For two, we would have observed in mankind's history at least the birth of one new species at some point or another. This is troubling for these evolutionists.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God. All right, now. I can see this is going to take a long time, and I don't got that much time today, so I'm going to finish here, and then I'll go on some other day, finish up, telling you why the rest of this is wrong. But everything you say is wrong, so it takes a long ass time to explain everything you say, why it's wrong. All right, this has been Most Epic Jesus. I guess we'll continue on sometime in the future.